It's good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, 2S Television. It's another day, Friday again, and we're here to discuss top stories and front pages of the newspapers. And joining me in the studio this time is Felix Benga Adetowubo. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
How are you
happy
doing,
to
sir?
be here.
Pleasure is all ours. All right, we have a couple of newspapers this morning, and let's begin from Daily Trust. The banner headline there says, Erufai's Metropolitan Authorities Steer Controversy. We have four riders underneath that story. The first, LGA's powers usurped to co-fund new tiers. And then the second one is how they differ from Lagos Osun's LCDA's LGA's powers usurped to co-fund new tiers. And then we see PDP says it's duplication of responsibility. Lawyers vary. We followed due process. That's coming from cardinal government. Just on top of that, we see a story on presidency. Wait till 2031. Pandef tells Northerners, don't threaten us. Also coming from Northern Elders Forum. APC Congress, Ganduje tackles Shekarau, others over petition. That can be found on page 4. And let's go over to the Daily Times newspaper. The banner headline there, which will be one of our topics of discuss this morning, is Osinbajo to state to raise IGR, think like sovereign entities. This story can be found on the Daily Times newspaper and also on the Nigerian News Direct. The banner headline there also resonates with the Daily Times that says fiscal federalism, states must act like sovereign nations, coming from Osinbajo. What is your take on this topic? Because I know it's a topic that's generated a lot of discussions in the last couple of weeks, especially when it came to value-added tax and also state acting independently.
Yesterday when I read about it, I think, seriously, I don't really know where the vice president is trying to come from, because just like you said, the issue of the VAT, you know, I think the matter is still in the Supreme Court. I think the Rivers State governor has also gone to the Supreme Court just to see how to overturn what the lower court, that's the Court of Appeal,
Yes,
tried to that they came up with. But the fact is this: all of us are talking of restructuring, and if you are saying that a state should, you know, start generating their fund, or they should, you know, show up themselves as a sovereign entity, a sovereign nation, but the Constitution does not really allow for it, because some of these IGR that they should have been getting, these things, you know, they go to the exclusive legislative list. And if you look at it, the federal government has power more over all these things. So probably we are trying to go to the side of restructuring. I think we need to say more on that about restructuring. Let's see how states, you know, we start making use of what they have, and the central will not be too powerful. Probably that's what he's trying to say. But it's also good because we see that most governors are like, because they come cap in hands every month to come and get from central bodies. Maybe some of them are not really, you know, doing enough to get the best out of their states. Probably this is also a wake-up call, but the real sense is that I think we should be thinking of restructuring. Let's restructure this country. Let states start having, you know, making use of what they have, you know, what their God-given resources, and then make use of it, and the central not to be too powerful.
All right, let's quickly go to Blueprint newspaper. The banner headline there is talking about November 6 Guba poll. Interpol, FBI, others lead 34,587 cops to Anambra. We see three riders underneath that story. The first is IGP moves against subversive element, deploys helicopters, Marine detachment. Then begin e-transmission of results with poll. ADP urges INEC. South Supreme Court affirms Soludo as APGA candidate. That can be found on page 6. And just underneath the picture of the day there, we see PDP National Chair IU emerges not consensus candidate. And then we see NCC attains 97% readiness for 5G deployment. That can be found on page 22. A couple of other headlines underneath the page there. The first is COVID-19 vaccination not compulsory for civil servants. That's coming from federal government. Buhari to MDAs use local professionals to plan, execute project. And US donates over 3.5 million COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria. This Anambra gubernatorial election that's coming up November 6th, we've had so many activities. We've had so many fracas, we have so many discussions and controversies around it. Just yesterday, we got the news that Obiano defected. And all of these things now we're having different bodies, independent bodies, international bodies also come. Why do you think this election is one of the most important elections at this time?
This election is very important because if you can recollect, some few weeks back, the National Assembly tried to go against the will of the people by using the electronic transmission for our elections. But thank God, I think this week they've also tried to see reasons to many Nigerians why, if truly we want to have credible elections, we have to do what is being done, worldwide. And the election is very, very important. But what I'm seeing now is that because of the security challenges too, I think is another thing. What's happening in Anambra State, or in Imo, Anambra, in the east. The husband of Akunili, the way he was killed and all those things. So it calls for security concern. And because of this, I think everybody is looking into it. Number one, to make sure that everybody really come out to vote. Not to be scared of anything. We know what's going on in the East about the issue of stay at home, all those things. So, and I think to be able to tackle that and to make the people to believe or to really to come up with bringing out their rights, which is their franchise to vote, the government has to protect the people. And I think this is very important. I think 2 days ago we saw what happened during the APGA rally, where they said there were some touts, I don't know, that they disrupted the whole thing, and the governor even had to take to his heels. All these things should not be happening. So I think that's the reason why they are trying to put in more troops to be able to take care of that place for the election. I think it's okay, but to be sincere with you, the numbers of the people to be deployed, to me, is way too high.
For just one state?
Just for one state, for crying out loud. It's just too much. It's just too much. So if over 34,000 policemen or security personnel in total, 34,000 of them, you just took all of them to Anambra alone. What about, and this is a nation where we are all saying that we don't have enough police, we don't have enough men in the army, and you just one election, you just have to draft like 34,000 policemen or security personnel. No, that's just way too high, and if the government is not careful, people will start thinking that is it that they have an interest, a special interest, in that state, because in this country we know how the police is being used, the security personnel are being used to disrupt election at times. We saw what happened in Kogi State and so on. People already have doubts about some of these things, and for you to come up with 34,000 men, come on, I think they just have to think about it again. And the security level in that place shouldn't have called for this number of people. How many local governments do we have there that will be drafting 34,000?
All right, let's go over to, still on Blueprint newspaper, we have a story right there on the end of the paper. COVID-19 vaccination not compulsory for civil servants. That's coming from federal government. It also can be found on page 8. Just yesterday, we saw the update, and it got Nigerians talking. COVID-19 vaccination, we saw in news that it was allegedly made compulsory for civil servants. And now we're having, they went back, right? And this is a different story that contradicts what we saw yesterday. So what is it in your opinion when we talk about the safety and the health of Nigerians vis-a-vis making some things compulsory for them?
Number one, we need to think about the effectiveness of this vaccine. I'm not against the vaccine. The vaccination is quite important, for all of us. But we need to also think of, some things. We can't say because we have COVID or we have this pandemic, then the whole nation should be shut down. Even because we're told that it's not a cure, isn't it? It's not a cure. So if it's not a cure, it shouldn't dabble into the right of an individual. Everybody has a right. In the US, I think they are in courts. Some religious bodies are saying that no, it's against. You can't enforce it on them because it's against their practice. So it doesn't really make sense. Look at what the governor of Edo State tried to do. You know, trying to like all civil servants must take it. Anyone that didn't take it will be, you know, be sacked. All those things. We shouldn't go through that route. And this should also call for concern for the nation, because if we are still banking on other countries to donate to us, to sell to us what we should be able to produce, then it calls for concern for us. I'm telling you, I'm not sure if we have more than 5 million vaccines, and this is a country that has about 200 million people.
That was one of the topics of discussion. Do we have enough vaccines?
We don't have. Do we have enough? And if we are to get enough that is going to go around, you know, to like over 200 million people, you know that will our budget be able to take that? So we cannot, okay. Now, for example, if I've not taken, for example, and this thing is not enough, and probably I went to the hospital that, you know, let me just have this, and maybe I'm being told that, no, we don't have it yet, then what do you want me to do? The government has not even provided enough. They've not provided enough. We still have less than 10 million. So if you have less than that, and we are talking of over 200 million people. So we should take it easy in this country. We shouldn't try to do what is being done, you know, in the Western world, that they want to just, those people are producing for their people. We are not producing.
All right. We have a couple of other stories, but do ensure that you stay abreast of happenings in Nigeria and, of course, across Africa. Stay updated on our website as well. That is www.tostvnetwork.com, and also our social media platforms. That is at TOSTV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, like and subscribe to our YouTube page so you do not miss out on amazing content. It's good to have you join us once more. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week, Monday. My name is Merciful Ajinomo. Stay safe.